This? No, this is just the,
Out of that Italian leather chair and get the fuck out.
Welcome back to Recapping. Today we are going to recap a 2010 drama crime movie titled Boiler Room. A college dropout gets a job as a broker for an investment firm, which puts him on the fast track to success. However, success clouds his judgment, drawing him into a world of corruption and greed. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to this channel. Now, without wasting any further time, let's begin, shall we? Seth Davis, a 19-year-old Queens college dropout, runs an unlawful casino out of his apartment. Despite the fact that he makes a good living in his field, he is regularly chastised by his father, Marty, a federal judge in New York City. His old friend Adam visits the casino one night to play blackjack, accompanied by a wealthy colleague named Greg Weinstein. Seth is satisfied with his casino revenues, but he is more concerned about Marty's displeasure and the possibility of his business being shut down as well as his incarceration. Greg invites Seth to join J.T. Marlin, a brokerage firm headquartered someplace off the Long Island Expressway, about an hour distant from Wall Street, according to Seth. He is enthralled by the prospect of not just earning a legal income, but also of making millions of dollars. Seth attends a group interview at J.T. Marlin and learns from Jim Young, one of the firm's co-founders, what is expected of his work and how he can become a millionaire. Cold contacting investors to sell shares is one of the firm's selling strategies, and Seth joins as a stockbroker trainee who must complete 40 accounts and pass the Series 7 exam before working independently. He succeeds in his new career, pleasing his parents, joining a group of wealthy senior brokers, and beginning a romance with Abby Halpert, Greg's secretary and ex-girlfriend. Seth also goes through difficulties, such as altercations and fights with Greg, as well as the choice to close down his casino. The FBI, on the other hand, has been investigating J.T. Marlin, disclosing the firm's illegitimacy. The company is a chop stock brokerage firm that uses its brokers to artificially inflate demand in the stock of expired or fictitious corporations. When the firm has finished pumping the stock, the investors have nowhere to sell their shares in the market, and the stock's price plummets. The federal agents decide to pursue Seth because of his brilliance and the possibility that he will not be too devoted to the firm due to his brief employment. Seth takes the Series 7 exam and advances to the position of senior broker. He then approaches Harry Renard, the purchasing manager of a gourmet goods company, who is different and less privileged than the company's other whales. Although Harry emphasizes that he and his family are currently being economical in order to purchase a home, Seth falsely promises Harry an excellent investment that might turn out to be extremely beneficial. Harry calls back after selling him 100 shares at $8 each to inquire as to why the stock has performed so poorly. Seth sells him even more worthless stock, convincing him that the outcome is unimportant. This puts Harry and his family in a difficult financial condition, causing him to lose the property he had hoped to buy as well as being abandoned by his family. Unnerved by his decision to defraud Harry, Seth comes to terms with the fact that J.T. Marlin isn't as trustworthy as he had assumed. Marty then disowns him, chastising him for his shady business of stealing and damaging the lives of others. Despite this, Seth shows up at his father's office and tearfully reveals that, in order to obtain his family's favor, he closed his casino and got into a highly criminal line of employment that he thought was lawful. He then asks his father to assist him with an IPO scam in order to defraud the corporation and bring it down. Marty first declines because he fears losing his judgeship, but the next day he calls Seth, reconciling with him and offers him a role in the conspiracy. The FBI subsequently arrests Seth and his father for violating 26 SEC and NASD regulations, and they are taken into detention together, as the Bureau found their IPO plot, thanks to a tape-recorded phone conversation. Once all of the suspects have been taken into court, the FBI offers him federal immunity if he agrees to testify against J.T. Marlin. However, the FBI can also implicate Marty owing to evidence of their intents for unlawful behavior. Only if his father is released, Seth claims, would he testify against the firm and provide substantial evidence of their criminal acts. He and the agents reach an arrangement on this, with Seth being held overnight and returning to work the next day to copy investment files onto a floppy disk for use as proof. After then, it's assumed he'll be free to leave because the FBI will raid the building and prosecute everyone else. The next day, Seth returns to work and follows the FBI's instructions. Before leaving, Seth makes an attempt to atone for his sins by attempting to reclaim Harry's money. He tells Michael Brantley, the company's founder, that refusing to do business with Harry Renard, whom Seth portrays as an essential and profitable potential at a critical juncture, will cost the company a lot of money. Brantley decides to proceed based on Seth's explanation, promising him shares in the upcoming IPO with the restriction that he won't be able to sell them until the firm's shares have been sold off. Seth requires a ticket sale signed by a senior broker to sell the shares behind Michael's back, something his direct supervisor, Greg, has stated that he would never do. Seth approaches Chris Varick for a signature, indicating that he may well do one thing right in assisting a severely harmed investor in recouping his losses, now that the firm will be raided and there would be no future in continuing business at JT Marlin. Chris hesitantly accepts, and then flees the premises in an attempt to avoid federal authorities. Seth walks out to his car, pondering what he wants to do with his life now that his business dealings with JT Marlin have come to an end. Several FBI cars, buses, and tow trucks arrive in the parking lot as he drives away, with agents storming out ready to invade the building. And this is where the movie comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed it, as always until next time.